This is what happens when two Southern classics collide. I'm making a peach cobbler, rum, pound cake, and yes, it's as good as it looks. I'm starting off by preparing my peach cobbler mix, and I'm using frozen peaches for this. You can use canned peaches as well, but you want to just make sure that your cook time is a lot less because those peaches are already cooked. I cook the peaches down until they become softened to the point where I can put a knife through them easily. I'm setting that aside and letting it cool down while I make the cake batter. I cream the butter and sugar for about 10 to 15 minutes until it becomes fluffy and lighter in color like this. Then I add the eggs in one at a time until it becomes just combined. Now I'm going to add half of the flour and I'm going to alternate between adding the flour and the milk. I then add some rum to it, and now I'm ready to move on to putting this whole thing together. I've got a non-stick bundt pan, but I'm going to spray it very, very liberally because I don't want anything to stick to the pan. I'm adding some dollops of the cake batter to the pan, and I'm going to do this in layer. If I start off with the peaches, they're just going to end up burning at the bottom of the pan. So it's way better to start with the batter, then add the peaches on top of that. I'm going to add the peaches side by side. I'm not going to stack them on top of each other. I'm adding a good amount of peaches, and I don't want to overdo it by stacking peaches on top of each other because then I run the risk of having an overly soft cake. So I've got the oven preheated to 325, and I'm just going to bake this for about an hour or an hour to 15 minutes. But in the meantime, I'm going to make a rum soaking glaze that I'll pour over the top. And just a warning, because of the amount of peaches that I use, adding this is going to make the cake really, really moist and make it really soft. So if you're going to be concerned about turning the cake out or being able to move it, you can skip adding this glaze and just add a little bit more rum to the cake batter. I say a quarter cup more. The last thing I need to do is to top the cake with the glaze. So I'm using some powdered sugar, I'm using some of the syrup from the peaches and a little bit of rum. I'm lining the top with peaches about where I want to cut it. And then just drizzle that glaze right over the top. Give the glaze a few minutes to harden up, and now you've made a cake that your family is going to demand every single time.